Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mr. Buzz Killington. I wanted to welcome you to the first episode of my Forza Horizon 3 drag builds. This time I'm going to show you my ridiculous sleeper Gremlin. This was a build that I just set up because I wanted to jump in some of those all-wheel drive drag lobbies and just mess with a ton of people. So in this video we're going to go into the specs and get into the tune so you guys can get out there and start beating a lot of people. So first off, let's take a look at the specs for this build. It's rated just over 1,000 horse at just over 2,500 pounds, making it one of the lightest builds that I have, but by no means the fastest. So with that said, let's take a look at the tune. First things first, tire pressure. So with these I set them at 30 in the front and 33.5 in the rear. Generally you hear about guys who run 15 and 15, but for this build I kind of did it both ways and found out that the 30 and 33 and a half are generally the best. Alright, next up we'll take a look at the gearing. We have a final drive of 275, a first of 288, second 199, third is a 149 with fourth being a 120. That'll be the last gear that you run in. It'll actually cap out right at the end of train tracks. So if you're going to run airport, you might want to knock this down to around a 118. That'll get you a little bit quicker and you won't be wrapping out at the end. Fifth and sixth, I don't really worry about those. I just kind of tune them so I can actually use them if I need to. But seeing how this thing tops out at 235, which it really doesn't, you don't really need to worry about those that much. Quick note on the first gear, it's a little bit shorter than normal. Generally you want to shift around 46 to 48 miles an hour right when it starts to wrap up, then immediately go into second gear. This will get you kind of that ridiculous second gear pull that this thing generally shows everybody. So next up will be alignment. I generally just zero that completely out except for the caster, which I leave that at default. I don't really mess with that too much. You'll see a lot of the rear wheel drive guys, they'll have massive positive camber in the front for their cars, but for the all-wheel drive cars you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. And then getting into the anti-roll bars, those are generally left default as well. We have the race anti-roll bars installed, so that allows us to tweak it, but really they're kind of there just as a purpose for weight. They don't really need to be there, but I just kind of left them there because it's not that big of a difference in the weight. Next up we have the springs. So you'll see a lot of people that tweak this differently. With this build, what we did was go ahead and set up kind of a soft jelly suspension, as you can kind of see. So we're at a 173.3 in the front with a 146.3 in the rear, and our ride height is set at 8.2 and 6.2. This will kind of give your car that funky looking stance where it's, way high up in the air in the front, slammed in the back, but it's like that for a reason. Don't worry about it. Next up we have dampening. So this kind of comes up in mind with the jelly tune for the most part. So rebound stiffness is set at a 1.3 in the front with a 2.8 in the rear. Bump stiffness comes in with a 2.5 in the front and a 1.6 in the rear. This setup kind of allows for the more aggressive launch, so it gives you kind of that rear squat that you really kind of want to have out of these cars, on takeoff anyway. Next up is the aero, and that's left completely default because there's no wings on the Grimmy. I found out that there's really no need to put those things on there, so I don't have any tune set up for them. And second to last, we've got the brakes. Those are left default as well. We're not too concerned with how we stop after we beat people in the quarter mile with this car, so we didn't really mess with those too much. It is the race brakes, so keep that in mind, but we'll be leaving them default this time. And last but not least, we've got differential settings. So this is probably one of the more important things to have alongside of your springs and your dampening with your gear set. This helps you kind of sort out that launch or any issues you're really having with it. For this instance, we've done front acceleration at 21 with a decel of 0. Rear acceleration is set to 86 and decel is set to 75, with the center being split at 74. So with this differential stuff, you'll kind of see it in the different cars that I've tuned. It's similar for the most part, with the exclusions kind of being off by a few percentages and the center diff being slightly different. So with that, I'll leave you guys with a couple of race clips, that way you can see what you just built. So thanks for watching, I hope you guys enjoyed the build. Feel free to hit the thumbs up if you guys did like the video. I'm going to be doing a few more builds I've got planned over the next few weeks. And also, if you're feeling generous, feel free to subscribe. That way you guys can get notified about future videos. And as always, thanks for watching. And I'm out.